Hey, welcome everybody. This is John Palmadetto, Doctor of Speed Selling. This is Raging Verbalist number 265 for those you keep in track. Raging Verbalist is, I rant and rave about something that I find of interest. Usually don't drift too much into politics. And glad that you are here. It's available on YouTube and Facebook. And the Facebook group is Position to Win Book, Position to Win Book. And of course, as always, the person who's going to apply me with the questions that you would be applying me with, if in fact you were there, is the ever lovely Sandra. Sandra, welcome.
Hello, how are you doing?
Doing pretty well. Looks like you're already dressing for the game as a little referee outfit. So
There you go.
call
That's right.
calling the game. Okay.
That's right. That's right. All right.
So
So
what are we talking
we
about today?
we are talking about the Super Bowl. So Super Bowl 59. So do you have a prediction for who will win the game?
Well, it's hard to go against the Kansas City Chiefs. They really have a lot of history on their side. Can they get three in a row, break all records? By the way, if Mahomes does that, he'll have his fourth ring, and he's just 29 years old, which it puts him into a pretty elite crowd, especially since there's only Joe Montana and Terry Bradshaw in that group. So um, to me, I think it's going to be the Chiefs defense against the Eagles offense. So I would say Chiefs are going to probably pull it out and win. They've got a lot of momentum on their side. And I would probably say it's going to be like 24-19 or some weird score like that. How about you?
All right. So yeah, I think the Chiefs are going to do it. May be a nail biter at times, but but I'll go with 27-24. So I think they can do it. I think they can.
And and for those of you who are thinking about, because we're going to be talking about betting a little bit, um, so Sandra is picking the over because the over and under line is 48 and a half. If you're not a better of any type, you'll say, how do they do a half point? Well, that's because there's never a push in gambling. You're either a winner or a loser. There's no middle ground. So if it was a full number, there would be that potential possibility. Okay, so what's our next question?
All right. So are you surprised at how much advertising is going on for betting?
Well, to me, it's a little shocking because when I was in Vegas in the 70s, if they ever said, if Jimmy the Greek on CBS Sports even uttered the phrase point spread, they would get a call from the NFL and say, hey, tell Jimmy to settle down here, because the NFL didn't even admit that there was anybody betting at all. I mean, they didn't even say, that wasn't even a possibility to say anything. But now we've got wall to wall advertising on the internet, on television, I'm sure on, and radio, you know, probably in podcasts. Hey, on this podcast, we could have gotten sponsored by somebody, but we didn't. But I'm just kind of surprised and shocked at how much advertising. And then some of the ads are so ridiculous. And I say that because, you know, having been on both sides, and it's always better to book the bets than to make the bets. But my favorite is, if you put in $5 and you win that $5 bet, we'll give you $150. How can they do that and stay in business? Well, uh, house always wins on these things. So there you go.
And are there any sure bets in the Super Bowl?
Yeah, I always think there's some sure bets. To me, I go with the pizza and the nachos, and make sure that leaves some room for a little dessert in there. But as far as sure bets are concerned, most people don't understand that the game has lots of different bets. In fact, this year things have gotten even more out of control. There are over 2,000 different bets that you can make. Now, I couldn't get the internet to give me all 2,000, and we don't have time to. Well, we could make time, and somebody'd have to go out and get some snacks for everybody. But I'm going to tell you, yeah, that probably one bet to look at is the over and under at 48 and a half. Just so you understand the psychology behind it, is that they always try to put it so people will bet on the over. And even though that has worked out for a couple of times for the Chiefs. Most of the time, it doesn't work out. And in fact, there's a disproportionate number of people who bet on the over. Optimism prevails, pessimism is seen as bad, right? Remember, I got the red prediction glasses on. So, to me, I think it's probably going to be an under. That would be the closest thing I would say. And then, but always understand that betting is just that. You'll have no idea if you're going to really win or not. And then probably another great sure bet is to look at, how many times they're going to show Taylor Swift, because we know that they're going to show Taylor Swift a bunch of times. What I didn't see, and we'll talk about this in a little bit, but what I didn't see is how many times they're going to show President Trump, who is going to be at the game. So I didn't see that bet. I'm sure somebody has that one available.
And so what are some of the unique bets?
Oh, some of the unique bets are: will any player or coach cry during the national anthem? I mean, to me, that's got to be something that's going to be out there, because that sounds like a really kooky kind of bet. How about will a player leave the game with a concussion and then not return? So there you're betting, hey, come on, somebody, please don't do that. Here's a silly one that I really like. If the Chiefs win, will Andy Reid be doused in barbecue sauce after the game? Now, I don't know who came up with that one. The idea of a man of his bulkritude getting doused in barbecue sauce, I don't know. That's one of those. There's also the Drake curse to bring in the younger crowd, which is the Drake curse is that there's a viral trend that says that the rapper Drake, if they support a team, they will have bad luck shortly thereafter. That so those that. How about number of beers sold? Will it be over 120,000 beers sold at the Superdome or less? That's a good one. By the way, the Taylor Swift one, I have the number for everybody. The over and under is 5.5 times. So sometimes, she might be sitting down or standing up, but somewhere in there, we're going to see her 5.5 times or better. By the way, if you make it a drinking game where every time you see Taylor Swift, you take a shot, you have to worry about alcohol toxicity, in my opinion. Color of Gatorade, that's a good one. What's the color of the Gatorade that's going to get tossed onto the winning coach? How many times the chains will be brought out for measurement? Wow, that'll be a good idea. How about this one? I like this one a lot. Will a kicker hit the upright or crossbar on a missed field goal or extra point? Yeah, and it just keeps going on and on and on. And probably one of the silliest ones, or maybe not silly, but if the Chiefs win, will Travis Kelce propose to Taylor Swift on the stage right there, standing on that podium, and propose to her? Now, I mean, that's got to be one that we have to really think a lot about, because of course, who doesn't want to know that? Now, I'll give you what I think is a sure bet. I'll give you what I think is going to make sure that you'll be successful in life, and that is you might want to check out this. Of course, yeah, no, maybe not. Oh, here we go. Gotta love, and don't work with children, animals, and technology. But here's a sure bet, and that sure bet is to buy my book. Most businesses fail in the first 5 minutes. It just takes 3 to 5 years to realize it. Position to Win, available physically at the positiontowinbook.com website, and I'll sign it and tell you whatever you want me to sign within reason. Also, it's available from Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Books a Million, wherever books are sold. You can go out and ask for it and order it, and you'll get a physical copy. So check that out. You can also get digital copies for Kindle, Nook, and Apple iBooks. And of course, if you want to learn how to do what we're doing right now, which is doing things remotely, you go and pick up Remote Work for a Better World exclusively on the Kindle platform. Also, make sure that you think while you're sitting there licking your wounds or counting your money, depending upon what happens the day after the Super Bowl, is if you had yourself a Raging Verbalist mug, you can either be pro or con, but you'll have something to hang on to. Every drink tastes just a little bit better in a Raging Verbalist mug. All right, what is the next question, Sam?
All right, so what are some of the key things to watch for in the game?
Kansas City's defense has to stop the run, and if they do, Kansas City has a really good chance of winning. If Mahomes gets hurt, that's a bad thing to look for. And also that running game from Philadelphia is just it's been insane in the last few games. So if that persists, then probably going to be a long night for Chiefs fans and for anybody who wants to see the three-peat. So that's what I'd be watching most of the time. We get so excited about watching, the passes and the runs. All that's important, but it's really the line of scrimmage that matters. So to me, those are the keys, and then we'll see how that matches up.
And what about the celebrity factor?
This is a game that everybody wants to go and be seen at. This is why when it was in LA, even though it was during the pandemic, they had people all over the place. We'll see. I wonder where they're going to park all the private planes. I mean, that becomes a problem. I know some of you out there listening, going, "Well, yeah, John. I mean, we got to probably put a GoFundMe page or something on that." But there's going to be a lot of celebrities, and of course, we've already mentioned her before, but Taylor Swift will be there, and that will be a big factor, and it'll be interesting to see how many people will be in the stands that they're going to show. All I can say is having been to, three Super Bowls in my life, I never saw anybody in the stands that was except I saw a Denver Bronco who watched the Washington Redskins destroy us. But it was Louis Wright, who was a great cornerback, and he was a cool guy and nice guy. But yeah, there's going to be a lot of celebrities there.
And is it true that this is the first time that a sitting president will be at the Super Bowl?
Everything I hear is yes, and it will be fascinating to look at and watch that. I mean, you have to think about all the security that you need to do, especially with the assassination attempts that have already happened. But it appears that he's going to show up, and if he does, what will the crowd reaction be? Will it be like an MMA fight? Will it be like what will it be like in there? So that'll be fascinating. But I haven't seen any prop bets on that. But yes, having a president go to a game like that is just going to be pretty wild.
And can any game live up to the hype of the Super Bowl?
My answer is, unless it's your team and your team does something exceptional, the answer is no. I mean, advertising now costs more than ever. It's now up to like $7, $8.5 million, depending upon when it shows up. By the way, every advertiser is just hoping and praying that their spot is going to be shown. The worst spots from what I've studied are, there's a TV timeout for an injury because as soon as that's an unexpected spot and everybody like bolts to the either the food or the bathroom or both. So that happens. And then celebrities, of course, will be shown. That'll be a part of it. And that'll be part of the hype. And we'll see that, there already is a prop bet, which is will the halftime show singer talent show cleavage? Well, it's a guy, but maybe in today's world, I got to go with more modern times. Can guys show cleavage? I don't know. I mean, Sandra, maybe that would be something you should be able to answer. So
Why not? Why
there
not?
you go. A push up something, but okay.
Yep, yep.
Um, and then, of course, the phrase "That's my Super Bowl" has become a pretty common phrase. By the way, it was the owner of the Kansas City Chiefs who came up with the title of Super Bowl. There was a rubber ball that was sold in the 60s called a Super Ball, and you would bounce it, and this thing was crazy. And everybody that I knew had one of these. And of course, their parents eventually took them away because you lost your Super Bowl because, of course, it broke things and all that. So he had, I think it was his son was bouncing this around and said, "What's that?" And it's a Super Bowl and Super Bowl. And well, one of the hunts said, "Okay, Super Bowl it is." And there it goes. So, well, hopefully it's your Super Bowl. Hopefully you've had a little bit of fun. My suggestion is that you bet moderately. You don't go crazy if you are going to bet. And just remember, any of those propositions that says that it's going to be easier to win money than you can imagine, Well, be careful about that, especially, and I'll give you this is my warning. Maybe we should just have a little like flashing warning. Is that whenever you hear people talk about parlays where you have to have two, three, four, or more items that have to line up in a row, it's hard enough to pick one, let alone four of them. And the internet is littered with broken hearts and empty wallets and purses where they say, three of my four things in the parlay work. That's why they can give you those crazy odds. So there you have it. Go out and watch the Super Bowl 59. Enjoy it. Hopefully your team or whoever you're rooting for will win, and just have a good time. Don't get crazy. Don't take it too seriously. And for myself, John Paul Mendoza, Dr. Speed Selling, and the ever lovely Sandra, who we know will be wearing her red sweater during the game in support of the Chiefs. This has been Raging Verbalist number 265. And until next week, have a good one.